On my roams around YouTube, I haven't really found too many videos on exactly how one comes up with chords. Of course, it's highly subjective. Everybody's different. Everybody learns differently. Everybody's got a different brain. So I decided to make one, which you're watching right now, coincidentally, if you're watching this. I hope you are, otherwise that would be a bit weird. But Danish March, really lovely tune, very, very sweet tune. And I just recently learnt it, or finished learning it, I should say. But the chords, on the other hand, the chords are, yes, I haven't finished learning those, which is something I wanted to show my process. Maybe that would help somebody, hopefully, of how I come up with chords, which is what this is. So, yes, the tune, I'll play it through for you. And it's a bit difficult, it's a bit tricky, because of, that you can't do too much cross-rowing in it, which might be an issue. I mean, you can always unpar, obviously, yeah. But it just sounds a bit cheesy, doesn't it? You do that. So let's put some chords to this. First off, I mean, as you progress, you'll start to do this automatically and just instinctively know in the same way that pianists know. So you want to work out what chords go with what. Now, it's in the key of G. I'm playing it in G. So I know that G, C, and D are going to be in it. So I'm going to start off with G. Now, it's a thing that you do with melodians. When you go to a pool, you go to C by default. Pretty much by default. Particularly if you're Morris man. So let's do that. Back to D, as you would. Now, when you're playing, you should never ever be scared to let go. Chords. I feel like some people think that you should always play chords. That's just not the case. If a tune works without chords, bear in mind, chords is a complement to the tune. Always a complement, and the chords should always work with the tune, no matter what. And be as one with it as possible. So you do whatever works. If it Calliope House, I think it's called. That doesn't really work with chords. It carries its own weight. And if I... It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Maybe somebody out there has managed to make it work, and good on you. But for me, personally, it doesn't add anything that therefore shouldn't really be there, in my humble opinion. Also, another very useful tip with chords is to punctuate them, to punctuate the chords. So, like I was doing in the Danish March. So, this is difficult. Try and punctuate. I'm already using the chord. You could put another chord in there, couldn't you? So let's try that. We've already established G, C, and D, but you could put more in there. See, the genius thing about this is that you can use all of these chords in one way or another, more than maybe you might be familiar with, depending on who you've seen, who you've watched, or just level or how comfortable you are. So let's see. You could put a chord in there, and it's D. So let's see if a D works in there. Works. For me though, it's a little light. The chords are very light. I like to have some heaviness to them, and what better than so let's try that. Right, okay, so that works, but it's a bit abrupt, isn't it? So what if we do the D? I think it's B minor. I can never remember. I always get the B and the E mixed up. Okay. Well, that works. Okay. So now, let's try and fill it out. So you've got the bass established. let's see what it sounds like. Good, good. You tell me. I'm practically doing this with you. Right. So now let's add some variation to that. Now you might be comfortable with this. You might already be doing this. Might have already been doing this for years. In which case, I'm not too sure why you're watching this video. But hey ho, a video's a video. When you're doing arpeggios, when you're going up, you've got, well, three choices, sort of. You can, and these are the same. You can see I'll use two fingers. So you can go up that way. You can also use the C, and then you can fill it out. Say if you want to push, which is G chord, C major. So for example, in a tune I wrote called Snow and Mince Pies. I remember now. Yeah. You can do that, and in that as well, there's so much else you could do. There's so much you could do, just so much, and it all depends on your taste, on, you know, but it does rely on using all four fingers preferably, you know, like a madman. But it's perfectly possible. So, let's see what the A part of the Danish March sounds like when you do that. Got to remember how it goes again now. And then it begins. Now, some things, well, two things really with chords, which you probably obviously noticed I was doing there, is holding down a lot more than two. Now you can change. How would you describe it? Dynamics, harmonics. I'm not really a technical music-y person when it comes to that. Like, if you just do this, you can add a bit of silkiness by holding down the D major 2. And it goes both ways. Maybe not this way, not so much. And that's all I'm doing. So let's play that in full. And you want to really, on those beats as well, on beats, whatever, See how well that goes? You want to fill it out and get it really... And once you start doing that, that's when you can work out which ones you prefer, which ones are going to stay, for other ones which, for other chords which don't really do anything, add more in where it's needed, etc, etc, etc. And once you've established that level, once you're there, you sort of, you know what you're doing, but you're not quite sure what you want. You can start, of course, there is no order to this, it's music, you can do whatever you want. But that's when you can really start pushing things if you so want to. For example, for the very start, or if you want to have it a bit more, because it's a very flowy tune, so you want to emphasize that fact that it's very flowy. It's quite perky. That doesn't quite work because that's too much for the C. Or, which is my personal favourite, and then you do it for the B part and you just keep going until you've got something. And if you want the chords, I can play it slowly, but just in case you want to see the variations that I'm doing here, I'll play it for you now. I'll play it all for you. I'll do it I'll do it basic and slow, and then I'll add more, and then I'll speed up. I'll also do the B part. I won't focus on the B part because it's already been covered with the A part. You just do exactly the same thing but for the B part. But before I do that, I want to demonstrate how powerful this method can be, because if you're aware of the history man, it does exactly the same thing as what I showed at the very start of the video. So if you watch the chords, G, C, D, G, C, D, or C, D, C, G, D. And yeah, it's the same, it's identical basically. It always follows the same pattern. There are very few patterns, and that's basically the only one. I say basically, mark my words, I'm using those very specifically. Using the words specifically. if you all tunes are exactly the same. They're literally exactly the same. If this was in D, would it be AD? It'll be exactly the same pattern. But of course, with this, I don't have. This is only an 8 bass, not a 12 bass, so I can't exactly show you that. But yeah, everything follows the same pattern. So let me just play this. Something else to add to that, which will really improve chords, is you should never have it the same. When you should always identify the start and the end of something. And the Abbess is one of the best tunes I know for demonstrating this. If I So there's a major point, and you emphasize that with chords. This is the ending. See the way it's sort of a cliffhanger. It acts sound like a cliffhanger. There's something more to come. Back to the beginning.